All right, she's in. Testing. Oh, okay.
Okay, Chair Miscali, it's 7 p.m. Please call the meeting to order.
Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order for the Cultural Affairs Commission. Can we proceed with the roll call?
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Moses.
Here.
Commissioner Gupta.
Here.
Vice Chair Fleischer.
Here.
And Chair Miscali.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, can I invite everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving forward with our next order of business, do we have any public comment for items that are not on the agenda?
No, we don't.
Well, actually, we're going to take this moment to introduce Assistant City Manager Adam Troy, who is just getting himself in as our public speaks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sally. It's been a day, people, but let's get to it. Good evening, Commissioners. First, let me thank all of our new members and thank each of you for being willing to serve Culver City. I also want to thank those commissioners who are continuing their service. You guys are giving your time, experience, and creativity to this community. And listen, if nobody's told you lately, it matters. As you begin a new year together, I want to encourage you to think broadly about the role of this commission and about the opportunity that sits before us as a collective. Culver City, in my short time being here, I've witnessed has extraordinary cultural identity. We are a city of artists, storytellers, filmmakers, designers, musicians, performers, and creative businesses. That means cultural affairs should not simply be something that happens inside City Hall. Our opportunity is to increasingly connect the work happening here with the creative energy that already exists throughout Culver City, throughout Los Angeles, and quite frankly, beyond. That being said, I have the utmost confidence in Sally and my entire management team. They are committed each day to better understanding this community. They understand the work, and they care deeply about doing it well. My expectation is that we continue to empower our professional staff to manage the day-to-day work while this commission, in its advisory role, increasingly helps us think strategically about where we are going. Part of that means looking at process and efficiency. As I'm looking at subcommittees and advisory council structures across the board, as you review your work plans and establish your subcommittees tonight, I encourage you to continually ask a few simple questions. Can we make this process simpler? Can we make it faster? Can we make it easier for artists, organizations, and community partners to work with the city while still maintaining the appropriate standards and public accountability? Government processes exist for important reasons, but we should also be willing to examine them. A process that made sense 10 or 15 years ago may not necessarily be the most effective process today. And I would encourage you to look beyond the walls of City Hall. Attend performances, visit galleries and studios, meet our creative businesses, build relationships that many of you already have with our entertainment companies, art organizations, foundations, educational institutions, and cultural leaders throughout the region. Once you do those, bring those relationships back to Culver City. I'm encouraging Sally, in fact, and our entire management team to do exactly the same thing, to broaden our networks, increase our presence in the community and region, and cultivate relationships that can create new partnerships, resources, and opportunities for Culver City. I see this commission as an important partner in that effort. Over the next several years, we have some tremendous opportunities ahead of us. Our cultural equity planning work, the continued evolution of our public art program, our creative economy, and ultimately the opportunities surrounding the 2028 Olympic and Paralympic Games. So my challenge to you tonight is, quite frankly, it's simple. Think bigger, build relationships, challenge unnecessary complexity, empower our staff, and help us make Culver City one of the most creative, culturally connected, and welcoming cities in this region. Without a doubt, you all have my support, you have my confidence, and I look forward absolutely to working alongside you. Thank you for the opportunity tonight.
Thank you very much for your statement, and thank you for making the time to be here. I'm sure you're probably brain fried from a full day of work.
No.
No. Okay. Well, yeah. Your thoughts and your statements are much appreciated. We often hear have a lot to say about how long things take and how sometimes we have to temper the expectations of the people that deal with us, because they're like, wait, it's going to take 18 months to do this idea that I thought of. So yeah, definitely if the energy is there for us to try to move faster and to move bigger and to dream blue sky thinking, then we're definitely on board and we look forward to it. And now's the time, as you said, we kind of have like a 24-month to 36-month window to really kind of drive the idea home that Culver City is the home of creativity in greater LA. So yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. If I might add in addition to that, I've asked Sally and a number of our other managers and directors, for those of you I have not had a chance to meet individually, we should do that. What I'm trying to do across the board, again, not just with cultural affairs, Sally and the rest of the team, I'm absolutely looking at how many staff hours I'm committing, how much time is happening outside of the work that they have already given. Even part of what we have shared with our council members is to channel your inquiries through the ACMs. That way I can make sure that effective responses are happening. I'm not taking Sally necessarily or any other directors away from the work that they have at hand, but we can begin to work more collaboratively together. And quite frankly, it gives you one person's neck to choke. That's mine. So I look, again, forward to working with you, establishing some greater lines of communication and spending some time with you guys individually so we can dig a little deeper on where I think cultural affairs has the opportunity to go. And I'll say this in closing. I've said this, in fact, in front of Sally with other directors. As we are beginning to look at LA 28, right now we have a little pause on the momentum because, quite frankly, I need to bring in a third party to assess what the risk association is. You know, how much money are we actually looking at spending? And beyond the Olympics itself as an accelerator, what gets left behind, essentially, for Culver City? Right now, cultural affairs, objectively speaking, is the X factor that I have. Every other city has everything else that we have. They don't have cultural affairs, not at the level that we're operating. So I've said to her, we need to begin to lean into using cultural affairs as the tip of spear as we begin to sort of elbow our room into the LA conversation, LA 28 conversation. So you'll be hearing more about that as we go forward. And again, Sally, thank you for the opportunity to comment tonight and to welcome our new members to the commission.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Are we in receipt of any correspondence?
No, we're not.
Sorry, is there anybody else who is doing public comment? Is Hope going to address us now, or no? Okay, cool. So,
No receipt of correspondence.
okay. Very well, moving on to consent calendar items. We have one item, C1, correct?
Yes.
That is 27-224, Cultural Affairs Commission consent item, approval of minutes of the special meeting of June 2nd, 2026, and the special meeting of July 28th, 2026.
We've already received one typo correction from Vice Chair Fleischer. Does anyone else, anyone else note something in the minutes that was incorrect or?
Nope.
Okay, if someone then could make a motion to approve as amended the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve as amended the minutes.
Approve as amended, oh, adopt as amended. Approve as amended. So can you do it on your screen? Great. Do I have a seconder? Okay, moved by Commissioner Moses and seconded by Chair Mascali. Okay, you should be able to vote if all is going well.
We're seeing it.
Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
It's
Technology.
a miracle.
Because we have Tiana in the room.
It's because Tiana's here.
Just
Technology.
in case. By the way, I should introduce Tiana Allen in the clerk's office, an enormous resource for our team.
Thank you so
And the
much.
minutes are approved with 5 ayes, 5, yes.
Okay, excellent. Moving on to the order of the agenda, we have a number of action items, starting with A1, 27-89, Cultural Affairs Commission action item, consideration of a concept for a permanent art installation, Frame Line by Lawrence Scarpa, towards fulfillment of the city's Art and Public Places program requirement for a project by Rethink Culver LLC at 9810-9814 Washington Boulevard.
Okay, this is a familiar project to at least 4 of you, but I'm going to go through a little bit because one of our commissioners, this is going to be a new proposal. A couple of meetings ago, and this has gone through a couple of iterations of the Public Arts Subcommittee as well. So this proposal is related to the Rethink project, and for our new Commissioner Johnson, that is the project that's going next door to the Kirk Douglas Theater. That's the new development. It's many, many years in the making, and we are one of the last pieces of the puzzle here. This is a redevelopment project that has gone up and down in scale and has come to City Council in many different iterations. When it came to Cultural Affairs, it was about how they were going to fulfill their art requirement, and their first proposal was to deem the building itself and a feature of the building architecture as art, which has an extremely rigorous process that's dictated in our municipal code. When that happened, the architects and the developer proposed. We convened an independent review panel of architects and other creatives that are also outlined in our municipal code on how that process should go. And the process went through its motion, and that independent review committee was not inclined to recommend the project for as an architecture as art designation. It came to City Council about 2 months ago, and that was the recommendation for the commission to consider. At the time, there was a number of public comment related to the project that showed the project with and without the architectural feature, and there was some discussion back and forth with the commissioners about waiving the art fee to allow for what was at the time deemed at the commission a dynamic, and by several public comments, an architectural feature that they wanted to retain that would only be possible if they were not also required to pay the art fee. Because this project has a lot of different city crossovers that make it very unique and did not go through the traditional planning process, there was discussion also about this unique situation. We left the meeting thinking that there was unanimous opinion by the commission to waive the fee and to potentially pursue a memorandum of understanding with the developer to make sure that they kept the architectural feature in and their fee was waived. From there, I went to the legal department in Culver City and approached them about what this process would look like. Upon legal advice and upon many conversations with the legal department, they felt that creating an exception by waiving the fee was the least desirable process, and what they recommended, based on the fact that this project already had an artistic statement and had artistic elements that would qualify it as an actual art on site, that we go through and actually now show you a proposal as art on site rather than architecture as art. This is an extremely complicated and very unique thing that's coming back to commission now as an art on site proposal. We have art on site proposals a lot that go to this commission, but usually they don't have the backstory that is necessary to bring you to this day. What I have in front of you is the deck that you also received in your materials, so I'm not going to go through it in huge length, but I will show you a few of the key elements that make this proposal something along the lines of what we usually see. Again, here is our art and a little bit about the project. And then what is unique here and what I think is important to highlight is that Lawrence Scarpa, one of the architects, is the artist of this piece. And he is proposing this as his own work of art. And one of the criteria we have is a rigorous understanding that the artist, it meets a criteria. So Larry Scarpa has presented to this commission and then multiple times to the Public Art Subcommittee about his career. This is just going to go through a few of the more relevant parts of what his career and site-specific art. Here's shows and exhibitions he's been in. And these slides have been seen by many members of this commission before, but for the new commissioner, I wanted to make sure you see the type of projects. He's got a lot in Santa Monica. So you can see, if you want me to
Can I
pause.
ask a question? Yeah.
Yeah,
So everything I looked at everything, and everything we're seeing here is the art that he's done to other buildings.
Yes,
that were
sometimes
art
on his own.
site, or were they actually considered?
some of them were considered, that's a great question. So for instance, let's get through to, these are like shade and art structures. Some of them fit the classic criteria of art on site. Some of them are different architectural projects. This one is one that's a private one that is similar in the scope of what our project is. And then here we go to the actual development. So this is the building itself as proposed. The exterior, there's a pass-through, and this is the interior paseo. And this is the structural staircase enclosures that are being proposed as the art. Here's another image of it. And the artistic statement is in your packet of materials of his description, but the idea is it's a nod to cinematic history through the idea of this structural staircase, these elements right here. So this is the frame of reference he used when presenting this piece of what he hoped the artwork would convey. And there you go. I'll just finish this and then we can go around for questions. So here these are the elements of the building that you would see from the exterior. We would have, if approved by you tonight, we would have traditional art in public places signage that would give contextualization, that have the artist name and artist statement and more about the piece, and it would be something that was visible to the public. So I apologize for running through this quickly, but I do know that many of you are super familiar, and I'm absolutely happy to go back to any images as you have discussion that you'd like to. So before you tonight is the idea that this is coming to you now as an art on site proposal. I did bring this to the Public Arts Subcommittee when they last met, and they voted to move it directly to commission because they were so familiar with the project and felt that it was not worth more discussion there. So it comes to you tonight, and with that, if there's any clarifying questions, Van, for sure, I can go back in slides or answer anything else.
So the distinction is art on site, and what's the other distinction?
So the application originally came in as architecture as art. So to give you a frame of reference of some of the buildings in Culver City that fit that classification, it's more Eric Owen Moss's buildings in the Hayden Track. We have a few other examples, but they're usually that the building itself is deemed art. This did not pass that threshold with the independent review panel.
And so then my question is, how rigorous is the threshold for art on site?
It's fairly rigorous, and I can certainly let public arts subcommittees comment on that because they review those proposals frequently, but it goes through a subcommittee process. They then recommend it or don't recommend it on to the commission, but it's basically the process that's usually started when a development happens and they choose to put art on site. Again, there's many ways you can fulfill your art requirement. Pay into the fee is one that is most frequently used. Put art on site, which does have pretty rigorous criteria. It has to be over 75,000. The valuation for this piece is also in your materials. It more than meets the threshold. The valuation for the sculptural staircase is, I think, maybe 50,000 more than the actual minimum requirement is. At least that's the audit on it right now. And it has a series of other criteria that it has to meet, and this one does.
And if we were not to pass it, then it would not be built this way. It would be built.
Yes, and I unfortunately don't have the slide that they had brought when public comment 2 months ago, which showed you without the structural staircase. So just imagine this building without any of the flourish, basically.
Just
And-
a dark wall.
Pretty much.
Basically.
So that was part of the discussion with the commission at the last meeting, was just how enhanced it is by this extra feature, and what a shame it was that this art fee was getting in the way of that element being there. So, yes.
Excuse me, sorry. I think it actually, there is a diagram of the structure without it in the.
In the slides?
In
Okay.
the attachments. I saw it,
Okay, because these should be directly the attachments that we gave you. No, that's the front. Maybe that's what you thought.
no, there was another one where it's just so bland.
That dingy one, but that
Yeah.
was, I didn't see it in this packet.
That was from the prior meeting.
It was something the architect brought when they
Yeah.
went to public comment to show the sort of with and without.
Okay.
And
Oh,
then
the prior was not good. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. Okay.
there was also
Yeah.
a lot of, I think, probably 10 different speakers that came out to speak in support of keeping these options, and disappointment that it didn't pass the threshold for the architecture.
No, I feel at a disadvantage because I have not seen the prior, obviously. I mean, I personally think it is, it's pleasing to the eye the way it is now. I don't know if I see that as art necessarily, but yeah, it's definitely pleasing to the eye. And if it was just going to be a blank wall, I think between the two, I would rather have that, to be frank. Why, I just feel like, is there not a process? Like, why is this?
This is the process. So this is actually like a 7-month process. So this has gone back and forth, this commission. So
Okay.
other
It
commissioners,
just feels
feel
like-
free to weigh in on this,
Yeah,
because this is a project that has seen multiple presentations, actually. Anybody else want to weigh in on that one?
I'd like to hear from the Public Art Subcommittee.
Yeah.
You start.
Good start.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think this is something we have deliberated over several meetings on, and I think, there's a huge distinction having the building without and with. And I'm sorry, I thought it was in here, but just, you can take our word for it. It's definitely, it just really lacks kind of an ambiance, and it just looks so much better with, yes. So I think that's why we had a joint consensus that it needed to come back to this committee.
So then the question being then, is it available to see at all times? Can anybody in the public?
That is
always-
correct. So part
Yeah.
of the requirement, one of the requirements is public accessibility. So the Paseo has to be open at least 8 hours a day, which it's supposed to be far more than that. And then there should be an exterior element that you can see the features.
Okay, because when I was looking, it looked like there was a gate that,
It does look like there will be the ability to shut down that Paseo, but the intention of the architect and the developer is to leave that Paseo. So right where Cafe Vita is, there will be now a more Paseo that will allow you to go between those two, where there isn't now. So there's no accessibility between the two streets now. So this would open that up and be a public Paseo pass-through.
because it seems like.
And that will be there regardless of this
Right,
project.
because for
where the
this,
alley
you have
is.
to be,
Yeah.
you have to be standing on the inside to look out, right? Like that's.
No, there's views from this is showing you views from Washington Boulevard and from Culver Boulevard, that you can see the
That
stairway.
you can see this imagery, the way
Yeah,
that.
Can you go to slide, page 19? I think there's a Brooks and Scarpa, there's a nice example of a previous,
So I love the homage to
Yeah.
old film, I love that.
I think that's the one, yeah.
They had a few more video projections when they did. They were very quick, but they sort of gave the element of the light pouring through those, and that was the effect, I think, of the film aesthetic that they were going
That's
for.
like, okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Well, me and Sean are pretty much, we were unified in our decision that it would definitely benefit the project for this to stay the way it is now. And the most important thing in our minds was, whether or not you can make the justification, in a serious way that Mr. Scarpa, independent of his architecture practice, is an accomplished artist, and the answer is yes. So we found that to be a very important thing. There's architectural projects he's been involved in where he was not the architect and he just provided a sculptural support, so that further supports the idea. So we felt that, this is probably the best way to move this forward in a traditional art on site, and consider, the screen structure that's housing the staircase to be considered the art. And we kind of had to coach them a little bit along the way to be like, hey, you need to kind of give us a little bit of more meat on the bone conceptually. We need to understand that this is a story about, film and cinema and like kind of these frames and the light filtering through, and like tell that story a little bit more. It was always there, but they didn't really kind of like seal it in, and they finally kind of came around to it. So we felt like it was ready to go to the full commission. We didn't need to deliberate on it again for like a fifth time.
One of the benefits too of it, if it passes as art on site, is that it's required signage. So that was something that was not necessary. I mean, it would have been an architecture as art signage, but this will actually be much more specific signage to the elements.
That's a great point, Chair Mascali. The fact that they actually came back to us and really wanted to explain how this could relate to Culver City and weave that story together was really compelling. So it took a little while, but they finally got there, and it's good to see.
Yeah, I just wanted to just mention for your benefit that that's part of the rigor of the Public Arts Subcommittee, that it comes back to them and the experts here are able to give them constructive feedback to help them usher the process through in a positive way. So just so you're seeing a glimpse of that happening right in front of you here.
Right. And I appreciate all of the input and completely do trust that you guys have gone through this. It sounds like it's been 7 months, so some time.
It's not usually this many back and forths,
Right.
And it was because it sort of took a different path, and now it's coming back in a more traditional way.
I think for me, outside of clearly seeing that he is an artist, outside of the architecture, and that it does look better this way than the other, is the process, because can someone else look at this and say, well, I'll either, I'll make it beautiful, and if not, I'm going to show you a very hideous version of it and go with the beautiful version, So that would be what I would be concerned with in terms of process anyhow, but outside of that, I see what you guys are saying.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm excited about this project, and I'm totally trust, the process. So, yeah, I'm excited that we've gotten here. Let's get it done.
Cool, so can we move forward with the vote, please?
The vote, the motion would be to approve Frameline. Hold on, I have to go back to the motion, sorry. To approve the art concept Frameline by Lawrence Scarpa toward fulfillment of the Art in Public Places program requirement for a development project at 9810 to 9814 Washington Boulevard by Rethink Culver LLC. That's the motion. So moved by Vice Chair Fleischer and seconded by Chair Mascali. One moment. Oh, there's the motion. Hold on. Approve. Can you see the motion on your screen?
Yes, the voting page came up.
The voting page, but is the motion written there? Okay. Okay, they're good. That's good. Okay, all members have voted. And the motion passes with 5 yeses. let's get this back.
Thank you. I really appreciated your comments, Van. I thought they were right on. I'm going to switch seats with Lee so that I can see the screen from here as I present to you.
Sure thing.
I just got to get the topic. Nope. Okay. Can you call the next item?
Yes. Okay, moving on to agenda action item A2, 27-94, Cultural Affairs Commission. Receive report of fiscal year 25-26 Cultural Affairs Work Plan updates and fiscal year 26-27 Cultural Affairs Work Plan priorities and approve budget, and to provide,
Sorry.
no, it's okay, feedback as appropriate.
Okay, so this is not a non-voting item, but for feedback. But traditionally, in the past, we had done work plan presentations earlier in the year. And then there was a period of time where there was no work plan because we've had leadership transitions and there was going to be a totally different process. I'm coming to you now a little bit retroactively, but with some important city updates, and also just to go through the work plan of what we do. I'm focusing very much on our programs in this presentation. But the work of the Cultural Affairs Division is much more than our programs. It's the commission and working with you on all kinds of processes and decisions. It's things that pop up all of the time that are new elements that we have sometimes very elaborate conversations about. But for the purposes of today, I wanted to cover a few things, especially given the many changes in the city that I think are important to kind of base level for new commissioners and for returning commissioners about what's going on in the city right now and what's going on with cultural affairs. The first thing I want to bring up is the city council priorities. This has been a major conversation and theme for the past year. There was a retreat earlier in the year where the city council identified 3 major priorities that have driven the budget processes of the city and that have affected how we talk and think about our work in the division. They are investing in infrastructure and public spaces, strengthening fiscal sustainability, enhancing affordability and community support. On its face, the 3 that were chosen are a little bit of a hard fit for a Cultural Affairs Division where metrics and conversations about how you measure arts and culture are notoriously difficult. And I'm sure all 5 of you have been in positions where you've needed to kind of articulate the impact of the arts, and it's an often circular conversation in many ways. But what we've leaned into to make sure that we are in alignment with one of these is the investing in infrastructure and public spaces as where we are focused, but we do cross in the others as well. Within this framework positions Cultural Affairs as a core civic partner and weaving our creative strategy across departments and infrastructure projects. The other thing that is very much being leaned into right now is key performance indicators, or KPIs. So that's another thing that's very difficult for the arts in terms of measurability. If any of you have written grants for the arts, it's a very difficult, we've used a lot of metrics. We've had a lot of internal conversations about what the right key performance indicators are for our division. And again, we're leaning into infrastructure because they make the most sense on how we make our case. That said, I would welcome conversations at a later meeting where we talk about what measurability looks like for cultural affairs and how we talk about that going forward. But it's something that is happening, and in a lot of interdepartmental meetings right now are very much focused on these key performance indicators, and it's what City Council will be using to measure the impact of things in order to allocate budgets. On the horizon is actually switching to a 2-year budget cycle. That's new for the city. Several other cities do it. But it will change how we have conversations as well. Many of you know, especially if you've been involved with our Performing Arts Grant, that it's a 1-year cycle, that we're often sort of estimating things. We've had a lot of talk about trying to do 2-year cycles on things, but being hemmed in by our budget. So I think, and I'm hopeful, that this 2-year budget process will actually open things up. And again, to a city manager, assistant city manager's comments, be more efficient, and that we're not spending so much time in the budget process. We're doing it as a more streamlined 2-year process, but we'll see how this goes. That's the baseline I wanted to start with, because these are new city elements that factor into our work plan. I'll leave this up and not read it all out to you, but the idea of these 3 priorities, some of these elements that are bulleted here are how we're talking about how we fit into the strengthening fiscal sustainability conversation and how we fit into community support and inclusivity, which is a very easy sell for us. And then again, how we fit into infrastructure and community spaces. A lot of it is activation, activation, activation. So moving on to our major work plan items, of course, you're all aware of our cultural equity plan and public art master plan. The 10-year roadmap, we're about midway through the data collection and the community engagement sessions. We have more to come, and we're hoping that the next couple of months will be a lot of reporting out by MIG and Civil Economics on what they've done and have the data they've gathered and the community input they've gathered and the survey data they've gathered. Obviously, a lot of the outcomes we hope from this will help map what decisions and how we prioritize projects within the Cultural Affairs Division, where our art goes, how our art is cared for, what art actually needs to be taken out and is past its usable age, all of those questions, how we take in donations, which is, believe it or not, something that happens on a weekly basis of people wanting to donate various things and without having a donation policy in place currently. We're hoping these are the types of elements that will work themselves into the Public Art Master Plan and the cultural plan. Also, our ordinance, which is a frequent conversation in this commission about just the rules that govern us and where there needs to be updates and flexibility and what can actually realistically happen. Just a couple of pictures here. The upper left is the community engagement at one of the World Cup events. The other on the right-hand side is from MIG Noye, who did an activation at the Summer Concert Series and at another World Cup event. They will be at Westfield Mall on August 30th, and they will be at Fiesta La Bayona, so you'll see them again and again. Then the Performing Arts Grant Program. This is one of our longest-running programs and a gold star program in my mind, as I'm sure in others. It provides essential financial support to nonprofit dance, music, and theater organizations, and it delivers accessible, high-quality public performance across diverse community venues and public spaces throughout Culver City. We anticipate running the program. We've already announced grant availability this week. Thank you to Lee, who worked very diligently on all the materials and all of the orientation sessions that go into this for the applicants and just many, many moving parts. And then the idea, once we transition into this 2-year budget cycle, there's the opportunity to think about this program maybe differently, whether it becomes a 2-year program. We've had sort of initial conversations for years about potential changes to the way that this is structured, so we'll have that opportunity again. And then again, whether the program pivots or has some special emphasis for 2028 during the Olympics is a possibility that will be discussed in subcommittee and back into the commission. Music in the Chambers is a program that went away and then came back thanks to Vice Chair Fleischer and a number of others who were able to do a pilot concert last fall. We have another concert scheduled for October 18th. I will let Vice Chair Fleischer report out because she's been having some conversations during hers at the end of the meeting. But the idea for this program is that we grow it. We do what we figure out. If there are fundraising offsets we can do, how many we can reasonably add into the chambers, meaning this is where the concert happens, and whether or not there is another Olympics opportunity in 2028, we don't know. But all of these could pivot in that direction as well. The Artist Laureate Program, I'm going to show a few more pictures of HUG just because they're so beautiful. But thank you to all who came to HUG. Our Artist Laureate program has run in 2-year cycles, except for during COVID, where our Artist Laureate was renewed for a 3rd year. We are proposing for this program that we go through. Our current Artist Laureate's term will expire at the end of June 2027. And like we did the last time when the Artist Laureate, we really don't want to have the idea that an application cycle for a new Artist Laureate overlaps with the current Artist Laureate. It creates confusion and it takes a little bit of the glitz away from the current person doing all that work. We'd like to take another pause to do some evaluation, to get feedback from the current Artist Laureate, as well as consider models about what we might do to supplement and enhance this program, whether it's artist in residency, is there studio space, are there opportunities and collaborations that now exist that didn't exist before that create more opportunity for this person? Do we want a more structured program? Do we want to say that this involves 5 city events? Or, these are the kinds of conversations we'd go through in that evaluation period. And our hope is to have it go through that and go through the selection process of the latter half of next year and have a new Artist Laureate in place for January 2028 who would begin. And obviously Olympics again plays heavily into the conversation of the next cycle of Artist Laureate. Here's some pictures. You can see Jim Clark is in there, who did a very brave hug moment, and Commissioner Moses is in there. It was a really lovely event that photographed very well. Colorful Communities. This is a new program for us that's just finishing. I have some exciting reveals for you that I'll go through fairly quickly. We need to still commission the remaining 10 neighborhood posters. We are currently, the original artwork is now at the Framers. We hope to have it up at City Hall and then eventually a bigger show. And the posters should be ready for distribution this fall, too. We've been working out some fun ideas about poster distribution as we get everything together. Couple photos here. These are engagement events with each of the artists. There is Chair Mascali at the Blair Hills event. We've got the Sunkist Park event. We've got Buena Johnson in Fox Hills, and then some of the signage that was, I think a few of you at least were at the Culver West activation, which was wonderful and really interesting way that they set up community impact, feedback. So I'm going to give you a little precursor to the reveals because we do have the digital images available. This is our Sunkist Park by Deborah Ashheim, former airport, and all of the backline there are actual community members that she went out, met, and photographed and contributed to this poster design. So you'll see the airport and the air hangar. The Blair Hill Story by artist Lori Escalera, lots of history incorporated in there, lots of the flora and fauna, the animals that you encounter up in Blair Hills. Then you see the Lucerne Higuera community, which is I See You by artist Stephen Holman. There are many, many fun things that, as you stare at this piece, come to life, including King Kong in the background there. But he did a lot of, and I just want to give, obviously, it goes without saying, you see the city historian's fingerprints on a lot of this. So she spent an enormous amount of time with these artists working on the past and sort of nods to the past. So you'll see Harry Culver on his bike right there, front and center. But the artists all unilaterally just discussed working with the city historian as one of the highlights of this project. Here we have Buena Johnson's Fox Hills Forward Together. I know, Chair Mascali, you were on a number of this sort of mid-cycle, and it's interesting to see them when they're done. She did a great job. The past of Fox Hills, looking into the future of Fox Hills. There's lots of stories to tell here. And then finally, a place called Culver West was the Quimni group. You see Ginger Devine there over to the, but there's also nods to history, to indigenous culture, to the neighborhood feel. I show all of these to say that there are so much that went into this in terms of the community conversations, the histories, the imagery, that we hope to have a few artist talkbacks this fall as well as this comes out, and we would look to the commission to maybe facilitate some of those conversations, whether they're online speakbacks or something that we host, so that the artists can convene and the public can come see the artwork and they can talk about their imagery. But hopefully we also see it, that this program, these posters are now part of our digital assets as much as they are part of our permanent collection in physical form. So we are already having multiple meetings where I talk up these posters to become banners and signage and imagery and empty storefront wraps and all kinds of things. And so this is the drum I continue to beat in every city meeting I have is, have you seen our 5 initial neighborhoods? Get ready for more. The public art collection and acquisitions, to Commissioner Van Johnson's point of process. This is definitely where process comes into play, but probably the biggest process that came into play that is, 7.5 years in the making is the Charles Games sculpture. I left you 2 sort of fact sheets about the project that you can keep and use as reference for some of the bigger talking points related to this project, but it is now a bi-weekly meeting with lots and lots of detail going on, so that's a major thing that will be going in between September and the end of October. Please do read through those sheets because they answer a lot of what I think will be commonly asked questions from the public. And obviously, as we're waiting for MIG and Civil to kind of give us their data, the Public Art Master Plan is going to play very heavily into how we take care of and acquire and put up new artwork. And they're going to propose to us citing and a lot of interesting models for us to consider for how we have conversations to spend our cultural trust on art. From the Ground Up Sculpture Program is one of those. We have not launched it yet, and we probably won't launch it until we officially have a new public art coordinator who really can dive into this as well. But this is also going to play heavily into the Public Art Master Plan. And then the games, I'm calling them the 2028 games in most of this, but the image on the lower left is a World Cup event in Tellefson Park that did incorporate some performances and was quite beautiful and packed and was one of my favorite of the World Cup activations that the city did. And then if you do know the Actors Gang, that is Adam Jeffers, the head of the education at Actors Gang, who is, this is my favorite photographs of him, so I have to throw it in there. And that is actually at the Screenland 5K, so it is not one of our programs, but the idea here is we have the RFPs that are due at the end of this month. We'll be picking a cultural producer and dance and music collaborators, but as Assistant City Manager Troy mentioned, there's a lot of shifting sand going on regionally, in LA, nationally, around the conversations about capacity in the Olympics, and that's affecting this. But we are a go with our cultural framework that is published and passed through City Council, so we're really in good shape, I think, to do some really great things. And then finally, last but not least, historic preservation. So this comes in front of this commission several times about re-engaging. Historic preservation is work that is very important and under the purview of the commission, but is not something that is funded through the Cultural Trust. It is something that has sort of been a ball that's been kicked many, many times, sometimes due to funding conversations, but a lot of it due to sort of bringing our municipal code up to speed. We have approval to work on some code revisions, which I think was the recommended first step. I will be making later on a recommendation that we don't form this ad hoc subcommittee yet, because I'd like to have a red-lined document and then form it so that there's something to look at. But something that's also comes up, I get flagged when any kind of work happens on a historic building. And it's something that I have to review historic code standards and decide whether the building is affected or not by the alterations. And so it's something that is part of my job and part of the Cultural Affairs Division's purview as well. I often consult with Hope about questions we have about certain buildings or certain neighborhoods and historical elements all the time. This brings to the question the larger concept of what is the scope of historic preservation? What is the appetite that exists from the public, from this commission, about what conversation we really should be having on this? And I would like to get to that point, hopefully this year, but certainly within the next 2-year band, where we have a revised municipal code and we talk about what Culver City really wants and needs in historic preservation, so that we can finally have some kind of defined scope that this commission considers related to this topic. And with that, that's the bulk of our programming. I will stop talking and I can answer any questions or clarifying comments.
Thank you so much for that summary. Does anybody want to start? Have any specific questions about any of the stuff that was addressed? We don't have a copy of that presentation in here, right?
No, you don't.
Okay, just checking.
I went back and forth with how much detail, and I felt with new commissioners I wanted to really highlight our programs. But you do have a summary description of what is published in the proposed budget book that is basically a summation of what I just went through and some of the other elements.
Perfect.
I have some general questions, nothing. Okay. So just generally, I feel like there's so much going on. I mean, you just went through so many programs and so many things that, obviously I know about now because I'm here. How much do we feel that the general population of Culver City understands and knows about all of these things? And does the 10-year plan are we looking at marketing it beyond this bubble, if you will?
Absolutely. Not only are we looking to market it publicly and the deliverables that we have in this long-range plan be much more publicly accessible, we also will be hoping to weave it in internally, where I think, traditionally, at least when I came here, I felt it was a lot more siloed than it is now, so that all of the departments within the city understand what we do, which is something that I felt was a challenge when I was first hired. So we do a lot via social media. We do what is email blasts related to our programs. But part of the recommendations I hope that we get from the cultural plan is how to dig deeper and create even more advocacy and awareness about the work we do.
Okay. Because you talked about KPIs and yeah, I mean, how do we really judge that, right, when we're talking about art and people's perception?
We're in early days as a city as a KPI thing, so I will say that we're having probably, every other week meetings on that subject. Many of them relate to the capital projects that are happening around the city, street paving, obvious things that are measurable things. Our work with the city manager's office has been really to kind of come to terms with that it is difficult to have measurable KPIs for the arts, and we're looking at a lot of different models, and hopefully that will be discussion that we continue to have both here in the commission and internally, so that we have a few key things that are talking points about what our measurable items are. We don't want to lean too heavily into, our performing arts grant program needs to have a certain threshold of audience in order to be considered successful, because then we miss out on some of the smaller programs. So there's a lot of conversation around what are the appropriate ways to measure our arts impact, and some of that even floods into the creative economy in general.
Okay, because that's kind of what led to my initial question, because it seems like public sentiment, right? The idea of how people are viewing, perceiving, knowing it exists and whatnot, and baselining that, and then maybe percentage of increasing that or whatnot in terms of certain KPIs. But I understand completely.
Well, one of the things that we definitely have is that the whole point of our 10-year plan is to align very closely with the Parks Plan that was a past plan about a year ago, and that is a lot of infrastructure, a lot about activating our public spaces. And so we will go hopefully hand in hand to that conversation, at least in terms of how that's measured as well.
Okay. And last thing, in terms of speaking to the artists, I mean, those images that you showed, those paintings, those were gorgeous, gorgeous. And to be able to, openly have the artists speak to the public about those and why they did it, the ways that they did and whatnot, would definitely be something I'd like to talk to you more about.
Go ahead, Tanya. Yes.
Regarding colorful communities, I'll just pick up where Van left off. There are 5 posters. There are 5 commissioners, and I would like to request that each one of us do one of those talkbacks or demonstrations or whatever they want.
That was our
want
hope,
to
is
do.
what you would say. We
Yeah.
had kind of talked this through
Awesome.
as well.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think that sounds great.
I think we should kind of come up with a variety of type of programming, and obviously different times of day and maybe different formats, because of people just being able to access it, during work, after work kind of things. So we can talk through that a little bit more too.
What is your time frame for wanting to accomplish these?
I think it depends on capacity. It depends on the new hire, but I'm looking at the late fall when we really start rolling out and have the printed posters available so that we can have giveaways as well. We have a really interesting idea that we're tossing around for National Arts and Humanities Month that we think will maybe be a kickoff to have one of these. We could do a combined panel too. We have a lot of ideas, so we'll kind of noodle that around, but yeah.
And would those ideas go through the Public Arts Subcommittee?
Yeah, we'll probably present what we have as a framework, but we want to make sure, we need to add money to pay the artists to engage as well. We don't want to just have an expectation that they would attend and do another program for free. So that's another thing that we're working on, is just realistically how we can do that as well.
Great. And then regarding those performance indexes, we did a creative economy report back in 2014 and then an update in 2017, I think. I might be getting my dates wrong. So that's part of how we do the measuring. So One of the reasons that the chair and I were so excited about civil economics doing this plan is because they are superstars in the creative economy field, and so I'm hoping they really will be able to help us out on how we do these performance indicators and how we can quantify it. So I think that will be a big boost for us. And this is all coming to me at the right time, that we really are, this is all happening now. So I'm looking forward to that and to that conversation with them as well. And I'm not sure this is the right time to say this, but since we're talking about the cultural plan, or I'm talking about the cultural plan, just a note that at some point, we're choosing subcommittees, but the subcommittee should perhaps meet with them or have some kind of a meeting before they come to the full commission, because we haven't met in a really long time, and I think it's time to touch base there. And then I just want to give a shout out to Hope for all the assistance on the Colorful Communities program. Obviously, your input was beautifully seen there, so I just want to thank you for all that work.
I second that. Heather or Shona, would you like to add?
Yeah, sure. I also want to third, fourth, fifth, the colorful communities. They came out so good. I'm so excited about what is next. And kind of one of the thoughts that I'm having was really excited about Adam Troy talking to us. Just the way he is framing the work of the city and creativity and culture is very exciting to hear. And the way you are connecting the work to the goals of the city, I think is super important to put it in there and to, connect it for them so they see it. And I think that all of this is going to help with the communication. It's just, I've got a lot of thinking of like how this can also help the school district and but it's really exciting. I think that's all for right now.
Sure. Shona?
Thank you. Just a few things. So I'm definitely interested in discussing KPIs. That's kind of my wheelhouse. But I would like to just say, I, for one, have seen an uptick in kind of the general consensus of the community and folks out in the city. They're just super excited about the work that you're doing. So thank you. And I think it would also be a really interesting thing to review some data around some of the traffic we're seeing on the Instagram pages, and again, like this all kind of flows very nicely into KPIs, so you can kind of see them from multiple channels and multiple threads. So let's see. So what else? Definitely excited about the activating public spaces. Loved seeing kind of that slide on Victoria's work, and excited about kind of her next few months. And that was a wonderful activation. So for those of you who participated, I photographed it, and I was very moved by it just from being an observer. And just, shout out to Sam, he's not here, but all the work that he worked with you guys on in terms of colorful communities, great to see that from conception to inception, and thank you, Hope, as well. It's really amazing to see all the posters come to fruition, and excited about how we can activate the artists and, share the stories. And so I guess we'll discuss that more in public arts, and excited about that brainstorm. So thank you. Really great presentation.
Cool. Well, I second everything that was said. I'm also curious about the KPI discussion. I think it's an interesting one, again, because of the nature of art and it being subjective, and not wanting to tie it too much to data, but then actually being forced to do that to support our existence and argue for our funding. So yeah, if you guys do come to a conclusion, based on these meetings that you guys are having every couple weeks, we would just be curious to see a small presentation on like where you guys are headed there, maybe like down the line a month or two from now. I think we would all be interested to hear about that because all of us unfortunately have had to deal with that in our daily roles as creatives. Yeah, I also am really excited about the idea of being in communication with the artists who did the poster program. I'm really impressed with the outcome. I'm super excited to see the rest of them. And I, especially as you guys all know, I think this perfectly dovetails into all the different kind of branding needs that we're going to need for the city moving ahead into the Olympics and stuff. So we could definitely use these resources to kind of enrich the visual language of the city in a way that's meaningful and makes sense. I really like the idea of communicating with the artist and doing those kind of storytelling and let's pick your brain type of content. I think it might also be outside of that, or maybe concurrent to that, in parallel to that or something. I think it would be interesting to kind of present all 5 of the artists in a panel and have a moderator kind of discuss with them. And that could be at a maybe larger event to further enhance and spotlight the program overall, potentially at our creative economy mixer. We could have, a hour-long discussion during the mixer, because I think those are all the right type of people in the room to kind of be exposed to the high-level work that we're doing in the commission. So I think, a thematic creative economy mixer focused on illustration, where we invite the right type of people. We have a very expert moderator, and then all 5 artists are brought on stage, and we have like a discussion with all of them, I think would go a long way. And it would kind of speak to what Van's talking about of like, how many people in the city really know the cool stuff we're doing. I think those are the good opportunities, because there's so many people in the room already, and we can take advantage of that momentum to kind of highlight our own successes and achievements in the city. I also think this kind of ties back to the KPI discussion. I think one good KPI I always think that we can potentially focus on, and it might be difficult or it might not be difficult to figure out, is how many people have heard about our programs. So just literally, how successful have we been in identifying the various siloed communities that have their own communication channels and their own email lists and their own social media and their own, like the Culver Arts Foundation and the AVPA and the this and the Exchange and the Rotary and the Historical Society, and how many of those thousands of, I guess, eventually it's going to eventually be thousands of people are consistently informed, at least. Like, we don't, like, let's not get into how much money did they spend and how many tickets were bought and how many people came to the show, because that stuff can get a little testy. But if we just kind of understand from a base level perspective, how many people heard about us officially and were introduced to the events that we do, I think that could be an interesting and kind of neutral thing. If we know in month 1, like 10,000 people heard about our events through a formal channel, we can kind of have a baseline and see if we can grow that in any capacity. Yeah, that's great. The only last thing that I wanted to add was, do you guys have any, I wanted to ask Adam, but I didn't want to put him on the spot. Do you have any idea or timeline on when we can find someone for Sam's position? Although we all know Sam was not very easy to replace, irreplaceable.
Yeah, I'm not sure Adam could have answered that, because that's actually going through us. So it should go online next week.
Perfect.
Usually it's posted for a few weeks, and then it goes down to the process of winnowing down to do interviews. There's usually, the way that the process works for hiring is picking peer from the city field to consult on and with commissioners on the interviews, and then we make a selection. So I'm hoping if we move fast through that and we have the right candidate, that we're in a good spot by the fall.
Cool. Thank you so much for that update. And again, thank you so much for putting that presentation together, and thank you for all the hard work. We always, during these meetings, when we get updated on the full work plan, do we kind of understand all the different stuff that we're actually achieving, and I think it's great. Thank you. Okay, are we ready to move on? We don't have to vote on this, right?
We don't have to vote on it, it's just a receive and file report.
Okay, cool. So I will motion that.
You don't have to motion.
Oh, okay, cool. Then we're done. Okay, moving on to action item 3. Action item A3, 27-87, Cultural Affairs Commission action item, acknowledgement of reappointment and newly appointed members of the Cultural Affairs Commission and selection of the chair and vice chair for fiscal year 26-27.
Okay, I'm going to switch again just because it's a presentation that I didn't really plan to do a presentation, but there's so many moving parts with the way that this will work. This is a presentation for both A3 and A4 based on the work that you'll need to do, and then I'll be quiet and you can all deliberate. But what we have in front of you are the commission reorganization and subcommittee assignments. So you've already received this information, you probably already know this, but here are your expiration dates, your appointments, who was reappointed, who was newly appointed, you know the trainings you went through to get us to this point. What will happen on A3 is the nomination for chair and vice chair. Chair Muscali will start that process, and then if there are changes to the seating, then everyone will actually get up at the end of that and move to the appropriate seat. So we will take a couple minutes if there are changes to the way that our vice chair and chair, depending on your conversation, then that will actually, that person, if it's a new chair, that person will assume that role tonight. A change that we wanted to propose to you that I've hinted at several meetings is the idea of converting our Performing Arts Subcommittee to a standing subcommittee. As you will recall, every year we have an ad hoc related to this, but the work of the Performing Arts Grant Program, as well as now Music in the Chambers, and we think live music events and other kinds of multidisciplinary live programming will be a bigger part of our purview and need a more standing, official, transparent committee that would be publicly noticed just like the Public Arts Subcommittee is. So it would be something that would be publicly noticed. This is a staff recommendation for you to consider when you're having your conversations about what subcommittee structure we ultimately go with. Another thing is that this would be a Brown Act compliant subcommittee, whereas the other ones are ad hoc. The standing Public Arts Subcommittee, we're proposing keeping that the same. Again, a Brown Act, there's a lot of processes that's already been discussed that go through this. Art in Our Public Places, the Colorful Communities poster program, and the implementation of the Public Art Master Plan, which we imagine to be sizable work this year. What we are proposing as well, and this is for a staff capacity issue, going back to the efficiency of committees and just the availability of space. I hinted at that at the last meeting. We're having fewer public meeting spaces available to us, so we are hoping to put these dates on the calendar now if you are going to join one of these two subcommittees as recommended. Again, this is a conversation you will have about ultimately what ends up as our subcommittee structure, but this is what we're proposing for the dates. The first one does begin in October so that we can hit the ground running where we think we have capacity for both Performing Arts Standing Committee and Public Arts Subcommittee. We're making the recommendation that as a commissioner, you don't serve on both of these committees since they're both standing and substantial work, that you split up between you so that there are 2 people on the standing performing arts and 2 people on the standing public art. That's our recommendation. And this is the proposed meeting schedule. It basically follows an every other month structure on a Wednesday. And we bring this up now and with hope that this is a consideration as you have your conversations about your availabilities. Subject to change if needed, but we would really like to lock in these kind of standing meetings because they require a lot of extra admin to publish agendas and to adhere to the Brown Act. With that, the streamlining conversation about the ad hocs that we hope to wind down for now. The Fiesta, La Bayona, and Performing Arts Grant subcommittees would naturally go down, their work is done, and then be now both absorbed into this new standing performing arts. The Arts Foundation, we have a different structure that we would like to propose, one that is in keeping with our Parks Department that uses a liaison structure for Culver Arts, where one person is appointed as the liaison and then there's an alternate. It would not change much of the scope of how this commission is activated with the Arts Foundation in the past, but it would be more in line and would not break Brown Act rules, which we realize If you have a Parks Commissioner and 2 Cultural Affairs Commissioners at a Culver Arts Board meeting as per their previous arrangement, that's actually in violation of the Brown Act. So this would be that we would allow for a Parks Commissioner and a Cultural Affairs Commissioner to be attending those key meetings if that was part of the scope. But I know that for those of you who have served on that subcommittee, it wasn't every board meeting, but you tried to kind of alternate. There would be an alternate for this structure. But again, this is in alignment with how the Parks Department has structured their relationship with the Culver Arts Foundation. We would temporarily wind down historic preservation and communications and outreach for capacity right now and re-engage with those if we needed to in the future to focus on the core committee work that we proposed to you today. So if based on your discussion, this is what we are presenting to you, that we would have 2 standing committees, 3 ad hoc committees, and an outside body, and the outside body being the new structure for the Culver Arts Foundation. In this, we have still retaining an Artist Laureate Subcommittee, an Olympic Subcommittee, and a Creative Economy and Cultural Plan Subcommittee, and then the 2 standing subcommittees, as I've described. And then moving forward, the motions for both A3 and A4 would be to move a certain person as chair and a certain person as vice chair for fiscal year 26-27. And then again, the motion for subcommittees would be to create the subcommittee, the Standing Performing Arts Subcommittee, if that's you so choose, confirm the schedule of that committee and for the Public Arts Subcommittee, if you so choose, and then the delegate structure for Culver Arts, if you so choose, and then dissolve the ad hocs, if you so choose, and then finally approve member assignments. And with that, I can move back and forth to any slide if you'd like to see something, and that concludes my staff report for both items.
Question. The communications and outreach plan, can you explain to me, it seems like something that we need, that it seems to come up often, is like, how do we communicate? But why is it not important right now? Or
It's a staff capacity issue to be able to focus on the things we have to focus on, but it can definitely happen. Any ad hoc can be formed at any time if the need arises, but we are proposing this just based on staff capacity now. So again, you guys can go through subcommittee assignments. Just another note that what we've started to do is actually have subcommittee report outs at every meeting that we hope to start again at the next meeting. So depending on your subcommittee structure, we would ask you to report out. But this by no means that we're ignoring communications or we don't think it's an important thing. It's just really based on, and we could actually throw up a slide that I have thrown up in the fall of just how much staff time is devoted to special meetings, commission meetings, and agendizing things. And I think have an average of where over a quarter of our time goes to meeting rather than programmatic. And so it was something we talked about a couple of months ago, but we're just trying to streamline it so that our pie is a little bit more even as we go into this short-staffed part of our existence.
I would like to see the slide with the list of subcommittees.
Yes.
Do you all know how to switch back and forth to see the, okay.
Yes.
I might not.
You could press presentation.
If you want to see that on your screen in front of you.
yeah, but if we want to, but if you want to switch it, we have to ask you guys, right, for the
You
present?
switch to your own computer with that.
The slides,
Oh,
no.
I see what you mean.
You don't have control on the slides.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah,
It's
we don't.
showing us.
And we don't have this presentation attached to it. Do we? No.
If you go to your if you click the presentation button, it doesn't show up?
No, it does.
It does, but we
They're just
can't
saying
switch
we
it
can't
ourselves.
flip
Right, you
the
can't,
document.
I can switch the slides though if you want me to go back and forth.
No, that's fine. This slide is good.
And so question about this, all of these are filled at this point, and we are going to reassign today.
There's people who've been in these roles, and so you're going to talk through if you remain or if there are new members that are interested in these committees. So as it stands now, they're an open forum for discussion.
Okay, thank you.
That is agenda item 4, though, so I will say that the next agenda item, once Chair Mascali calls that, is the chair and vice chair vote, which will come first. And then again, depending on that, if there are changes there, those take effect immediately.
I'm going to put it back so you can see the actual agenda item.
Acknowledgement of reappointment and newly appointed members. Okay, so first, right now, we're deciding the chair and vice chair.
Yes, that has to happen first.
Okay.
Sure.
I would like to nominate Chair Mascali to stay on as chair.
I second that.
Okay.
Sorry, no.
And I would like to nominate Tanya to continue as vice chair.
I second that.
Okay, do we vote?
I think you can have discussion or anything you want to do. This is kind of your
If anybody
show
has
now.
a second- if anybody-
I do want to say something.
Yeah, this is totally yours.
So I am happy to remain on as vice chair. I really enjoy serving on the commission. I've definitely enjoyed working with Chair Mascali. However, I will give you my experience from being on this commission for as long as I have, that not having been vice chair before I was chair was scary and a little overwhelming. And so I am happy to relinquish that to somebody else who's going to be here past next year so that they can begin to learn the process. And, you know, Brown Act is the Brown Act, but I'm happy to help people out if they want and other commissioners. So if someone would like to, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I am interested in learning about the process and seeing as I think my term ends in a couple of years. So only if you want to relinquish.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have said anything if I.
Well, thank you. I don't know. Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
well, would someone like to nominate Shauna?
Yeah, I'll nominate Shona to be vice chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, great.
So the actual motion would be to select Asan Mascali as chair and Shona Gupta as vice chair until the next reorganization in July. I'm going to put that up.
I just want to
Yeah.
just make double sure if there's any other discussion that you want to have about that, because I don't want to cut anybody's comments off.
The only thing I want to say is that I'm going to allow you guys to do what you guys are doing. because since I am new here, so. And I agree
thing.
with what's happening.
Trust me, we're all going to get phased out, and it's going to be the van
This
show.
is definitely the moment for you to have as much discussion or as little discussion as you want, so I don't want to cut any of that off.
Yeah, no, we are all open to everybody taking on leadership, and yeah, Shona, I think, is more than qualified and has shown a lot of enthusiasm for the role, and I think I'm super excited for her to kind of peel a little bit behind the leadership role and kind of be able to understand what goes on behind the scenes a little bit more. So I'm totally in favor of both of these decisions, and I'm also honored to continue in my role.
All right, let's
So
go.
now I need someone to move for the two things, for the official vote.
Button.
Do you see, yes, do you see an option to vote,
See,
to
now I
move?
don't see the option.
Make a motion?
I'm stuck at this.
Okay.
Oh, you got to go back to your PC. Press member PC on the
The
console,
bottom, right here, on this.
on the button actual, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, so when you press presentation, you can see what they're showing,
Presentation.
and when you say,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
exactly.
I'll second.
There you go. That's where.
That worked, right?
Yep.
Let me check one thing. 1 sec. Okay, so moved by Commissioner Fleischer and
I think it
seconded
was-
by Commissioner Moses.
Other way around.
I think it was the other way
Oh,
around.
Wait, sorry, you're right, other way around. Hold on, I'm sorry. Moved by Commissioner Moses, seconded by Commissioner Fleischer. So that's going to record and vote.
Where's the chair?
Okay, all members have voted. And the motion passes with 5 yeses. So don't tell them to change these.
I won't. Mark, if you were back there and can hear me, if you wanted to change the notation for Commissioner Gupta, yep, he's already doing it right now.
So actually, the most recent chair is supposed to be in that seat, and the vice chair is supposed to be in that seat, but when you were both things, you had the choice of which seat to be in. So nobody moves.
Fabulous.
All right.
And the only thing that's been updated you can't see, which is your nameplates now say your new titles. So you stay where you are, and you now have different nameplates.
All right.
We love stability around.
Okay. So- Okay. Do you wanna
Okay,
read
are we
this?
ready to move on to A4?
Yes.
Okay. Action item A4, 27-88, Cultural Affairs Commission action item. 1, dissolution and creation of subcommittees to reflect the fiscal year 26-27 Cultural Affairs Work Plan. And 2, assignment of commissioners to standing and ad hoc subcommittees and outside association.
Maybe now would be a good time to put that slide back up.
Yeah, it's there. Just
Yeah.
go to presentation.
So
Yeah, go
Chair
ahead, Tanya.
Mascali, do you want to go committee by committee, or do you want to talk about the ones that we're going to dissolve first? I don't know what you would like to do.
Yeah, maybe we're making decisions on both of those, right? So maybe we figure
whole
out.
thing.
Yeah, so I gave you it kind of all as a big package, and you can dissect that however you want, but this is definitely your time to discuss the proposal in front of you, and I'm happy to move slides back and forth if
Sure,
that's
can you
helpful.
go back to the slide where you guys were making those suggestions in bullet point? Yeah, okay. So first one, Fiesta La Bayona and performing arts all getting absorbed into a standing. I agree with that.
I agree with that.
Yeah, everyone can chime in after we're done in your discussions. The Arts Foundation ad hoc, turning it into a liaison structure, that's what that means. I like that. If the parks people are doing it that way, then I'm totally on board. And it also avoids the Brown Act situation, which is great. Communications and outreach, I'm going to let the commissioner speak about that. We might come to the conclusion that we have enough people now that it might not be bad to start at least casually getting that up and running. So that's my personal thought. You guys are welcome to agree or disagree. I'm kind of 50-50 on that. I'd like to hear everybody's opinion. And historic preservation, I agree with staff. I think until we don't have, some kind of agenda item or, actual task in hand from, regarding the ordinance, I'm totally cool with keeping that on the back burner for now. So that's my opinion. Like, let's keep the slide up and maybe let everybody give their comments about this kind of combination,
Right.
up-down situation. Yeah. Van, would you like to
So
go
I'll just
first?
start, yeah. I mean, I think that this is the recommendation from staff and to make things more efficient, and they're already utilizing so much of their time. I think, these recommendations make a lot of sense. I'm not sure exactly when the historic preservation would then begin, but I do agree with the list here.
So I'll say something about the communications and outreach plan that was requested a couple of years ago, I believe, and we never had a meeting. I was on that committee because staff just didn't have time. And I think now with one staff person, we still won't meet, and therefore why have the subcommittee? So, what I felt like my role was becoming a commissioner is to let people know what the Cultural Affairs Commission does, because people just do not know, to your point earlier, right? And so it is extremely important. However, there are a lot of moving parts to that conversation, including other departments, right? And so I think until we have enough bandwidth to be able to do that, to be able to really have a substantive conversation about how to move forward with a communications plan, it would involve Dustin, it would involve Econ Dev, right? I don't see it happening anytime soon, knowing how long things take, even though Adam wanted things to move along faster. So as much as it pains me, because I never got to have a subcommittee meeting on communications, I think it's the right decision for now, because in reality, I just don't think a subcommittee meeting would happen anytime soon, given staff's constraints.
One thing I will add to that I forgot to mention before is that they're adding 2 new communications positions to the city as well. One is a chief communications officer who's starting soon, and then support staff for that. So there will be changes internally that will increase communications capacity in the city, and I thought that's something that you should know as well.
And also, I mean, Dustin is the one who's running our social media, and he's a person you can reach out to him and talk to him. And so we can do our own outreach as much as possible and help out as much as we can, and then eventually get to the point where we're formalizing things.
Shona?
Yeah, so I had one quick question. The artist laureate, is that an ad hoc, or, sorry, I missed that?
Yeah, and let me just move forward here. This would be the proposed, so it would stay the same.
Oh, okay.
We call it ad hoc because it's during the term of this particular artist
yes.
laureate, and then we'd have to dissolve it and create a new one for the next. But this would also encompass the selection process and the evaluation process once the artist laureate is done in the end of June.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, so I think in the kind of, kicking off the meeting, we heard about streamlining and efficiencies, et cetera, so I think, this proposal makes a lot of sense. It's going to be hard to say goodbye to certain committees, but I think it definitely makes sense, so I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Heather?
Yeah, I'm just going to agree with everyone that I go with the recommendation of staff.
Okay, great. So moving on to the assignments. I guess everyone can kind of give their opinion on where they stand and where they feel they might want to be involved or shift around. Starting with me, I am currently on public art. I'm currently on the Olympics and the Cultural Olympiad. I'm currently on creative economy, and I'm also currently on the liaison for Culver Arts. I'm willing to continue on all of those, and I'm interested to continue on all of those just for the benefit of the city and having some continuity, because there's a lot of institutional knowledge and a lot of history over many years for each one of those committees, and I would like to keep an eye on them. But if someone else is extremely passionate about being the main Culver City Arts Foundation delegate, I'm willing to move into the alternate position for that. But yeah, that's just me at a glance. Does anybody else have any? Yeah, Tanya, go ahead.
I'm going to be a little simpler than that and say that I would like to continue serving on the Performing Arts Subcommittee and on the Creative Economy and Cultural Plan and call it a day.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Heather, Shona?
Okay, sorry. So I'm on the Olympics and Fiesta, which I think is getting combined with Performing Arts. I'd actually like to, so currently I'm on Fiesta, Olympics, and Artist Laureate, and I would very much like to stay on Olympics, and I'd really like to join Performing Arts if possible, which I think, yeah. And those are the two I feel strongly about.
Cool. Shona?
Yeah, I think I would be willing to step away from performing arts because I think, Heather, you would be an amazing addition to the committee. So I would love to stay on public art, though. That's something I'm very passionate about. And then what else? Where else does that leave me?
Artist Laureate?
Oh, yes, yes. I'm also very interested in that continuity with our Artist Laureate. And then in terms of the foundation, I was thinking I would just be your, alternate, but I could also be, I wouldn't mind being a delegate.
Sure.
So
We could decide that.
We can decide later.
Yeah, we could decide that later, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so,
You'll vote on it tonight, so you probably do need to.
Oh, okay.
oh, Sally wants us to decide.
Yeah,
Okay, do we need to arm wrestle? No.
Let's just keep it the way it is for now.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it the way it is for now.
So
I'll be the delegate.
you be the delegate, I'll
and
be
she
the
can be the
alternate.
alternate, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
And just to clarify, moving forward with this structure, if I'm at the meeting, then Shona can't be, and if Shona's at the meeting, I can't be.
Right.
So we'll just go back and forth then.
Yeah,
We could
that
probably
makes
just-
Well, I think the idea is that the delegate is the delegate.
And then
the
when I
alternate-
can't,
Correct.
she goes, okay, that's fine.
All right, we can,
But it's not an equal structure. One person is appointed to it. It's a little different than the other one. One person is appointed to the outside body. The other is if they can't serve that function.
Okay,
So it's not quite the same.
it's not quite the same.
But, no one's policing how you do it.
Okay.
I'm just telling you how it's supposed to be.
And we have to decide tonight.
Yes, you do.
If it's not formed, it's not formed.
Got it.
True, it doesn't have to be formed. Any of these could just not get formed tonight.
Oh, okay.
True.
So that
Good
could be
point.
the option too. Thank you.
Yes, just put it off and wait.
So yeah, so that means I will step down from performing arts, but I'll remain on public art and artist laureate, correct?
I think you should all weigh in first
Yeah, you
before
all
you,
have to weigh in.
you need to have that larger discussion before you're official in any of this.
Sure.
So, so the two that I am interested in are performing arts and the Olympics. And, I think I would really like to be on the Olympics, and performing arts, the same. I'm unsure about the time commitment there, but interested in that. And I think right now, Heather, you are on both of those.
Well.
I mean, would like to be on both of those. You're currently on Olympics, so I don't know if we horse trade or whatnot, but if you really wanted performing arts and were willing to allow me to be on Olympics, I would appreciate that. And yeah, those are the two right now that I'm really looking at. I don't know if we need someone somewhere else, but either way, those are the two that I'm interested in.
As someone who's not in this race, I'm wondering, Heather, if maybe you'd want to do the artist laureate with Shona so that Van could do the Olympics, or I know that's, because I think you are perfect for performing arts subcommittee. No disrespect, but obviously you have a big, large background
And just to say,
in there.
one of the reasons for Olympics, I know, Wasserman, well, now the A-team is on the board, and to be able to communicate with them, and especially with like the artists that they have, which I have communicated with them before, to maybe do something here locally, I think would be phenomenal. So there's some things I think I can do on the Olympics committee that, and coordinate with people and speak to people that I've already spoken to just in my
And just for
professional
clarity
career.
on the scope of that committee, we do have a approved cultural framework from City Council that sort of defines the guardrails of what we're doing. So I don't want to suppose that that there'll be a ton of new things, although definitely there is room for that. But I just want to clarify that we do have an approved framework for how we are going to go forward.
Okay, yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me because I feel very strongly about the Olympics, partially because I've been involved in it and working with, preliminary, the RFPs that have been going out, and also just with the connections I have with like different cities and stuff, and how, so.
Someone else needs to weigh in here.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say at the moment. And there's nothing else that you're,
Not particularly, no. I think I could add great value there, and yeah, in the performing arts I could as well, but you're there, you would like that as well. So I was thinking giving up one to let you have, taking the other.
I would give up the artist laureate, although I do love the artist laureate.
It's me.
Oh yeah, I don't know who else is on the Olympics as well.
Yeah, it's me. I've kind of been there from the beginning. I don't necessarily think it would be the wisest decision to step down from that. But I'm open to any and all discussion.
Are you, sorry.
No, I was going to say, so at this point, where are we with people's desires anyhow? So are we aligned except for this at this point? Does everybody, so we're aligned, so except for this. So, yeah, because artist laureate at this point is not something that, not to say I'm not interested in it, but as far as the two that I'm really looking at, it's probably performing and Olympic. And again, performing, I would completely do, and I'm excited to do too. I'm a little questioning about the time, but that's definitely something that is in my bailiwick as well, in my wheelhouse.
So, just balance. I'm trying to see which ones even have space right now. That's it, right? And just one?
Well, no, because I stepped away from performing arts, so that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's
she opened that one up.
And you would be okay taking performing arts if I wanted to stay on the Olympics?
I would prefer to take the Olympics. I was saying that I would give you, well, not give you, but if you wanted to take performing arts instead of the Olympics, just so you had one that you wanted. So how do we figure this out?
We just discuss it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see.
And again, between the two, because of the time, I'm a little bit more unsure about performing arts. So I know I could commit the time and I think add the value to the Olympics. And so that's why between the two, that's where that'd be first.
So I haven't been on performing arts, although I'm very familiar with the grant program. But I have been on the Olympics, and that's the one I'm really not willing to give up. So if you're saying, I guess for me, I've been involved in this process, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm kind of, yes, I want to do both, but I feel a little bit stronger about, yes, I'm very familiar with grant writing and performances, but a lot of what we've been doing with the Olympics, I feel, is about like cultural producing and dance and music, and that is something that is very much in my wheelhouse. So I feel like I would be like leaving it when I was like, we haven't really even gotten going, like we just started it.
Yeah.
I have a question. Can you have 3 members? No? Okay.
Brown neck.
They're like, no, figure it out. Yeah, again, I mean, I think between the two, I would be stronger in the Olympics than, the idea of grant writing, to be honest, I don't know much about, to be frank. So again, it's just the idea of performance and performing arts generally. That makes that interesting to me. Yeah, so between the two, I just think that it would make more sense for me to be in the Olympics. I don't know how important it is as far as what you've done, how that affects what we're going to do. The Olympics are so many years away at this point. So I do think that whatever had been done, I'd be able to catch up on. And I don't think it would hurt that subcommittee in terms of me taking that position. Again, and if we were looking at another one in terms of like artist laureate or whatnot, it wouldn't change my desire, I think, to be in the Olympics.
Could we hear from the chair, because you've been on this committee the longest, the subcommittee? What have you been doing, just if you could be really brief, and what do you expect that work to look like? I think it might help us make a decision.
Which one for Olympics?
I guess the Olympics,
Yes,
since that's
especially
the one in real
what's
contention.
going to come up, because you've been there the whole time since it was formed.
Yeah, I've been there from the beginning. There has been I think having a degree of continuity is definitely beneficial. So I understand what Heather's saying, especially with all the different groups that we have to interface with, and also there's a bit of variety, and it's a dynamic conversation surrounding City Hall. I'm sure most people know if they're following the major City Hall meetings. So I do agree that having that momentum with the existing group and all the super committees and the joint committees that have been happening with City Hall is beneficial. So that would be what I weigh in for the same reason why I feel some of the committees that I'm in and that I've been in for years, just because there's so much backstory and so much existing kind of trajectory. And the Olympics right now, majority of the discussions are happening surrounding the hospitality houses that are coming in and building cultural programming around that and the RFPs. And so there is a lot of moving parts there. So that would be just my opinion. So yeah, that's what I would, that's me weighing.
No, I mean,
and I'm 100% sure that you would be able to
Yeah, I was gonna say,
jump in and contribute.
I definitely, I appreciate that, and, I mean, I don't think that would stop my ability to be able to jump in, but it is good to know that you feel a bit of continuity is good there.
And I would say, Van, I know you, and I know you can do anything. So I'm perfectly confident in that. Where we are in the process, and it's weird because I know this is going to come up again before the Olympics, if I'm understanding this right, that the committees are going to change again in July of next year. Is that not true?
Yes. That's traditionally how it is. I mean, we've had committees change based on a number of factors even throughout the year. It just depends, but this is the sort of level set for the year, and then if there needs to be changes, additions, deletions, those do happen organically through the year as well.
But every July, this happens again.
Would normally be the July meeting, yes.
July, yes.
And so where we are in the process right now, so we worked on getting the RFPs out, right? And it's been delayed a couple times as far as like the deadline of it. And I personally, and I'm sure Asan as well, and everyone has been working really hard to get people to apply for the RFPs, and I would like to go through the process of seeing it through. And it is very similar, honestly, to at this point what the work is that I'm understanding at this moment is very similar to the performing arts grant, right? Like there's going to be people are going to apply for the grants, and then the grants are going to come in, and you're going to look at them, and there's going to be a whole process. So that's kind of where we are, and that is kind of why I'm really interested in staying and seeing this through, understanding that I have every confidence that you could. This isn't about like me thinking that you can't do anything.
And I understand that. I think this is just purely a desire at this point. I mean, it's like we both want to be in it. You know, obviously you'd be able to do a good job. You've been doing a good job already. I completely am confident in my ability to do the job. So it's not about that. You know, ultimately, I guess if we are just in this group making the decision, I definitely wouldn't want to say, well, in July we'll change. You know, I don't think that would make any sense either. I think if it's something that we want to do, we definitely want to do it through the Olympics. You know, all of us are on the commission through the Olympics, so we would want to do it through that. Again, I think my concern is that, yes, I'm interested in the performing arts, and I'm sure I'd be able to do a good job there as well. The time commitment is a concern of mine. You know, it just is. The time commitment is a concern of mine there. So that's why I'm a little bit, even though I'm interested in it, I'm a little bit unwilling to say, well, I'll take that instead of. I think right now, looking at both of them, it's really the Olympics, or I don't know about anything else.
I personally don't think you need to be too worried about the time commitment because I'm on 4 of these and I'm still making enough time. So, and, you know, you're kind of just getting your feet wet into this process. So I think, you know, when I was in your position, I was only in 1 subcommittee, maybe 2. So I think, and Performing Arts Subcommittee is not just the grants program anymore. As you saw, we consolidated it, so you're actually going to be contributing probably one of the biggest contributions to the whole city, because now you're going to be weighing in on performing arts top level, umbrella level across the whole city, including Fiesta La Bayona, including the grant program, including music in the chambers, including the summer concert series, including all the other performing arts that we're going to be doing overall. So I think also knowing your background and managing talent and being involved in cultural production, I think it actually makes sense for you to contribute there. So I wouldn't discourage you, because it might be one of the more important and now standing committees. It could actually be an excellent opportunity for you to kind of really dive in. That's just my opinion.
And I appreciate that. And I think that, because I'm interested in both, and if what I'm feeling is the consensus is that maybe performing arts and you really want to do the Olympics, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse here, so we can move on. I will go ahead and go to the performing arts if you're open to that, because you would have to also relinquish that one as well, so.
I didn't have it to relinquish,
one.
but, okay.
I relinquished it, so she.
So she could do it,
Yeah,
right?
so now
you
you-
would relinquish it for
yes.
her, and so
Yeah.
she would have to.
So
then
she
relinquish
basically
it.
relinquished it for you now.
So it's a give.
Yes,
here.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
actually,
so-
I just have to say, since this was my first year, I was on performing arts, and I found it incredibly rewarding. And I think now there's so much more under your purview, so I think it's going to be amazing. So
Yeah,
I'm
and
excited for
that's-
you.
That's what I think kind of makes the interest there. So yeah, so I was saying if it feels like the consensus is that's where it should be, let's go ahead and do that, and we can move on.
Quick clarity, too, that I just want to contribute to this. I don't have any horse in the race here, but just that all of our programs will likely pivot to the Olympics. So there will be Olympics conversations happening across the board with the cultural affairs. And the performing arts is actually named in the cultural framework as a key element of what our programmatic agenda will be.
Good to know, good to know. All right? So,
Awesome.
so that's where I stand then. So then I'm fine with performing arts.
Cool. Any last thoughts?
I think we still need somebody for artist laureate,
Yes.
a second person.
I'll-
So, go
I'll
ahead.
stay on it. Oh, wait, were you? Yeah, I was going to
Oh, okay.
relinquish it if somebody else.
Okay, so you're you're relinquishing performing arts for artist laureate. So I think then we're good.
Yeah,
Yeah?
we're good.
Hey,
So can you, who is on the, wait.
Do you want me to do this? I think I've got it.
You got it, go.
unless you want to
Okay,
do
got
it,
it.
Chair. Do you want to do it?
Who's on the creative economy and cultural plan?
So the way I understand it, please correct me if I'm wrong, Performing Arts Subcommittee is Van and myself. Public Arts Subcommittee remains Shona and Ehsan. Artist Laureate is Heather and Shona. Olympics is Heather and Ehsan. Creative Economy is Ehsan and myself. And Culver Arts Foundation Board, do you need to decide on your delegate and
I'll remain the
the
delegate.
delegate and,
Yeah.
yeah,
Shona will be the alternate.
all right. We got it.
So Commissioner Johnson's on one subcommittee?
Yes,
Yes.
performing
Okay.
arts.
Unless we want to resurrect communication and outreach and put him on there too.
And
which-
perhaps
which
when that
I
does
think-
come
which
around.
I
Still be
was-
on performing arts.
I don't want staff to get a heart attack right now, but I was thinking that we could open that up and put Van on it for now and just meet like 4 times a year, but I know Sally's going to murder me.
Well, and just for the record, we can request that we have another subcommittee at any time. So we won't do it now.
I'm fine with being on the one.
Right.
everyone.
But it is something
You're
that
on a meaty one.
that
Yeah,
should
yeah,
be
yeah.
open for discussion, perhaps as we get closer to the Olympics. So I think we're going to really need it, and then,
Completely fine,
right?
completely
So,
fine. Yeah.
yeah, it's coming.
So since Chair Mascali and Commissioner Gupta are in a standing subcommittee, you just need to be very careful with this Culver City Arts Foundation that you don't overlap this. This is a different kind of an appointment, okay? That's all. But otherwise, I think Tanya's on 2, he's on 4. I'm just counting how many each person is on. Okay. I think that works.
So
Would you like to make a motion to accept this assignments? Do you need me to read them one more time?
no, I think we're all on the same page.
Okay. So, I'm going to record this. Thank you.
Yeah.
I walked out because I didn't touch my computer, and I need to find my password.
So, moved by Vice Chair Gupta and seconded by Commissioner Moses to accept this, to appoint this slate.
Is there a password for these computers? Is the address?
Oh, did it go to sleep?
Yeah, is it the address? No. It's different.
It used to be the address.
It's not the address. No, it's.
No, it's fine, you didn't. Focus.
There we go.
Anybody else log out? We'll have to do a manual vote on that one.
Okay. Commissioner Fleischer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, all members have voted. And the motion passes with 5 yeses. Okay, next is... Any attendees by any chance? Nope. Nope, okay. Is Chair Miscali texting?
I voted.
I know, I know. The voting is concluded.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So, moving on to the next item, do we have public comment for items not on the agenda?
We don't, we do not.
Okay. Do we have any items from members and staff?
Yes, shall I go first? Okay. The grant application guidelines and notice of funding availability for 2027 performing arts grants are now available on the Culver City website. We have 2 scheduled grant workshops on August 25th and 26th, and the grant application deadline is September 23rd. First-time applicants are required to attend a grant workshop, and you are all invited to attend one as well. There are only 2 more opportunities to attend the Actors Gangs, 2 Gentle Bots of Verona at Media Park. Free performances are on Saturday and Sunday, August 22nd and 23rd at 11 a.m. Immersion Music presents Currents, Composers in Motion on August 27th at the Venda Museum's Community Center. And Angel City Chorale will be returning to perform at Fiesta La Bayona on August 29th at 12 p.m. Then in October will be performances by Helix Collective, Los Angeles Women's Theater Festival, and Heidi Duckler Dance. All of these are performances that are supported by the Performing Arts Grant Program. So Commissioner Johnson, it's a pretty good program. Details and ticket links for all grant-sponsored events are posted on the city website, in the community calendar, promoted by email, and posted on city's social media accounts. The full entertainment schedule for Fiesta La Bayona's 75th anniversary on August 28th, 29th, and 30th is now available, and was selected with the assistance of our ad hoc subcommittee. Fiesta does have its own website, fiestalabayona.org, so you can find all the information about performances there. We also have a new shipment of red tour booklets. I've been not distributing them widely because we were running out, but now we have a lot more. If you want any for display or distribution, please let me know. Thank you. That's all.
I don't really have anything. I've covered a lot tonight in what we're doing and what we're up to. You have flyers to disseminate. Please, please, please continue to promote the survey that is out there for the cultural plan. We have not had the response online to the survey. We have a lot of in-person response, but we're lagging there, so we're really going to start doing a real push to get more online answers to that. Thank you to Commissioner Moses, who has done a great job of continuing, putting it in the superintendent's newsletter twice going out to all students, and any kind of newsletters or public gatherings, please, please, please encourage, bring a card, have people fill out with the with the code here. I think that's pretty much it for me.
Okay. Any items from members? Heather?
So you guys kind of said everything. I really want to thank, well, I was going to thank Edgar Varela and his team. The summer concerts have been awesome. And Actors Gang, always, 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 yeah. I get to see a lot of the performing art grant recipients, and yeah, they never disappoint. Yeah, and it was really fun being part of the hug activation. I know you already talked about it, but I think that it was, out of love and support for Victoria that I was like, I'll sign up. And it was a little uncomfortable at first, but it actually it turned out really cool. And if you didn't see it, I'm sure there'll be something for you to see. And I did want to thank CCUSD and the superintendent for promoting really all of our events. When I send it to them when they think it's appropriate, they pass it along, which I think is great. Yeah, and I think I said everything else. Yeah, thank you.
Just to note that both of Victoria Marks's videos, which was brought up at the last meeting, are now on our website and on our YouTube channel. So that was something that did happen in the last week.
Shona?
Yeah, so I did have a call with Anne regarding the cultural plan, so I did do that. And just want to echo Heather, Commissioner Moses' statements about the summer concert series, truly amazing. And then the hug activation, again, I was thrilled to witness that, and really excited to see more of what is going to come from our artist laureate. What else? We have a couple of great shows going on in the city right now. K&K Gallery had a small opening this past week. I also went to a really wonderful activation at Helms Bakery on the weekend, the Italian festival, but they actually activated one of the spaces into this very cool gallery. And Sally, I think you made a great post about that. And last but not least, I'm excited about Fiesta coming up and seeing all the performances. So thank you. Wrapping up summer, exciting.
Tanya?
Yeah, well, we live in this wonderful community, and we all go to the same events because we're such a wonderful community. So, yes, I went to the Actors Gang last weekend and the weekend before because my daughter was visiting this past weekend, and even though she's 25, she wanted to go. So it was wonderful, as always. I was at the very first one, which I think was King Lear, like 17 years ago. So it's a tradition in my family, a tradition in Culver City, and I've known Adam for a very long time and seen him grow with the program as well. I've been to all the summer concert series, really great this year. And I encourage everyone to come out to the last one on Thursday, which is Tatiana Tate. She's a fantastic jazz artist, jazz drummer, jazz trumpet player. So I'm hoping for a great, enthusiastic audience to come out before we all have to return back to school and back to serious work in the fall. And the Bayona Festival, yes, Heather and I worked really hard on that, on the programming. So if you can go and take a listen to some of the great bands that we found, we were just so impressed with all the talent. And I think that Jill came up with a great lineup for both days, plus Friday night. So try to attend those. That'd be great, in between beer sessions, I guess. And I'll tell you a little bit about the Music in the Chambers, which is coming up October 18th. We have brought on the Webern Quartet, which is this incredible up-and-coming young string quartet. They were formed in 2022, I believe. And in fact, the cellist is somebody who is in Socorro as well, because as you may know, it's a very small, 6 degrees of separation is way too much in the music world. And she is one of the best cellists we have here. So anyway, they're all fantastic musicians. I had the opportunity to hear them just a couple of weeks ago. And they are really an incredible group. They're storming the international scene, and we're bringing them here to Culver City for a free concert. So we're very excited about that. They're still working on the program a little bit, but their specialty is the music, sorry, I'll be a little bit nerdy here, of the Second Viennese School, but they will be performing probably none of that music and rather stick to the First Viennese School and maybe some favorites of the chamber music literature. So I hope you'll all come to that on October 18th. We'll have more information about that and hopefully some social media coming out about that as well. And thanks to the Music Guild for working with us and for helping to secure this incredible ensemble. So it's bringing this extremely high quality chamber music to Culver City. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Right.
Van, would you like to?
Yeah, been out of town a little bit, back and forth, but yeah, I was able to stop by the gang, the Actors Gang. I was able to stop by that, and the wonderful thing about the Actors Gang is that not only is it the performances, but they actually take the students and use them as volunteers. So it's so wonderful to have all the students that are interested in the arts, even if they normally perform, I think, regularly there, but even if they're not performing, they're participating and they're learning. So it's a wonderful thing. The Actors Gang is such a great group. And then to echo everybody's sentiment about Fiesta La Bayona, phenomenal. Again, having kids in the community, seeing them running around, watching the performances. Actually, my kids actually had performed, I think, last year, the year before as well. All the performances are wonderful, so really enjoy Fiesta La Bayona and excited. I will be back, so excited for that. One thing I did want to mention, I think people here have been in it, but I was in the Leadership Culver City cohort this last year, and they are accepting applications. It's a phenomenal group, How I Met Hope. And, teaches a lot about it, really in-depth in terms of what's going on here in Culver City, and one of the main reasons that I applied to do this. So very exciting, and they are accepting applications.
Can you give us a little bit of background about Leadership Culver City, like what it is and what the program entails?
Yeah, so the program, it's about a 6-month program. They have an event a month. It's on Fridays. And again, every session goes into in-depth about something about Culver City, whether it's transportation, whether it's about the education. You actually get to go to the facilities and whatnot. So it's a very good education in terms of everything that's going on here in Culver City. And that's how I met Hope, because she came and presented the history of Culver City. Yeah. And then and so the group, they take about 24 people, and I think over 80 or 100 people generally apply. And they break that group up, and so the 24, they break them up into about groups of 5, and each of the groups are actually set to do some sort of community engagement. So our community engagement was that we actually had Hope come and give a presentation at 33 Taps. So we invited the community out. She gave a presentation. It was on a Sunday afternoon. It was a beautiful afternoon. And so it's a way of bringing the community, educating the community, actually. And then we brought a little bit of finance to, hopefully, to the Historical Society, hopefully, and as well to a business, to a local business. So that's Leadership Culver City. So yeah, and they are accepting applications now, so people should apply. Heather mentioned this on the way in. The Culver City Education Foundation had a phenomenal year last year, raised about $1 million, about $600,000, a little over $600,000 of that went to programs in CCUSD. Again, the Culver City Education Foundation raises money for the arts, STEM, and student wellness. One of their big events is Taste of Culver City. But yeah, so through the annual campaign, through smaller campaigns, through the Taste of Culver City, they raised about $1 million this past year. So very exciting. CCUSD needs it, the students need it, arts need it, so it's a wonderful thing to be a part of that. And you can always donate, go there and you can always donate there. Last but not least, I didn't get the chance to say it when Adam was here, but Adam and Otis are doing a phenomenal job. It is so great to see them not only be so dedicated to this community that they're new to, but be so visible and be so accessible. It is amazing that the community outreach that they're doing and being able to actually get input from the community in some of the decisions that are being made. And so it's just great to have them here. And, I really wanted to say it, and I didn't when he was here, but really appreciate them. And that's it. And high hope, and thank you, and thank you. That's it.
Go.
Sorry, I forgot to say something about the survey. Do you think we could, I know you did a post, Sally, with the mayor, but I'm wondering if maybe we could have another social media post about the survey and have it be all over, Facebook and wherever.
There was 2 this week.
There were 2 this
Yeah.
week.
And we have 15 that will be, at least 15 more. So you'll be
Okay.
seeing this
I
come through
did not
email.
see it. Did anybody else see it? Yeah, I did. Okay, so that's my bad. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
yeah,
don't
I-
worry, we're firing at lots of different channels. It'll come up in multiple ways, both on social media and through e-blasts very soon.
Did it come out through an e-blast
Not
as
yet.
well?
That'll be.
That's why I missed it.
Yeah. That'll
okay.
come out probably next week.
Yeah, in some ways, those will reach people who might actually click on it rather than on Instagram. Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, I also went to the summer concert series 2 weeks in a row. I was very impressed by the numbers there, although Edgar probably wanted even more people there. I don't really know where they would fit because people were like up to the sidewalks, and I was really excited to see the level of enthusiasm and engagement with the community. I enjoyed it from the comfort of the patio at the Culver Hotel, alongside Heather on a few nights. Yeah, it was great. It was really, really great. I have a question. Is the Actors Gang show, is this the Two Gentlemen's one that we're talking about? Okay, so I still
Gentle
do have a
Bots.
chance to see it.
Gentle Bots.
Okay, Gentle
And
Bots.
get there early, it does get very crowded.
The final weekend, but then for the first time, they're going
Oh,
to
yes.
Burbank at the end of the month, which is really exciting for them as well. So they're going to be performing in Burbank at the end of the month.
Ah, okay, interesting. Cool. Well, yeah, I think that's it from me. The Culver City Arts Foundation did have a meeting, but it was just a potluck and not much, I think, agenda-wise happened, but they have a lot going on behind the scenes that I will be updating the group on as it kind of comes to fruition. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for sharing all the happenings around the city. Cool. If we have nothing else on the agenda, we can adjourn.
Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Okay, Shauna?
Please come sign on your way out.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
you wouldn't mind taking a second for a photograph too, now that we've got all 5 of you, and I just want to wish CCS USD a good first day of school tomorrow.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay, move.
I don't think we've
Hold on,
adjourned
you
yet.
guys, we didn't
haven't
adjourn.
adjourned
We
yet.
didn't.
Hope, we haven't adjourned yet.
Hope,
We haven't adjourned yet.
give me a minute. Hold on.
Vote on it.
Okay. Moved by Vice Chair Gupta and seconded by Chair Mascali to adjourn the meeting. Okay. Please vote on your screens, or if not, I'll call you out. Commissioner Fleischer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay. All members have voted. And the motion passes. Thank you. Okay, Hope, you can go.